Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the it is?
Aries and Andy, Jew and the Jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut, cold. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was on your mama.
Aries Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism.
Sexism.
Much love to my loyal bag holders.
Rollers. Loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
We're back.
So for me,
You're back.
it's welcome back. For you, it's welcome for the first time.
Yeah. Been to Boston. We did Laugh Boston right up the road.
Laugh Boston, and then we did a theater in Massachusetts. But this is your first time at the Wilbur Theater.
Very excited about it. I heard nothing but amazing things.
It's the dude. It's East Coast.
I'm ready.
I was excited the moment I got to my room because, we're at the W, which is pretty cool. A little bit on the high end, kind of, sort of. So my bed is in the middle of my room, and behind my bed, which you can clearly walk in back of, is a bar. They got like liquor store sized bottles of Tito's, Maker's Mark, Hennessy, Johnny Black Label, Grey Goose.
There's more in the refrigerator, too.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Like beers and
And some other alcohol, too, that they had.
Oh, and what's George Clooney called? Casamigos?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and got full-on snacks. It's just like I was going, dude, you just don't.
Bottles of wine.
Yeah, you just don't get this like this in the Midwest.
Well, did you see how much they...
in the South.
Did you see how much they charged you, though, for your incidentals? Just in, the just-in-case hold?
Oh, I know it's a bend over
Yeah, well,
prices.
they take your money back. You get your money back, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's Mark said it's $1,000.
Wait, what?
Yeah. What was it?
For what?
That the hold.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why I said that to you right now. I didn't even look. I could tell you what mine was. I didn't even look.
Get the out of here.
No, stay here.
Yo, I ain't touching. I ain't touching a goddamn
These
thing.
bottles are probably $100 a bottle up there.
Yeah, now I'll take pictures of them motherfuckers and then go to the liquor store and go, give me this. Holy shit, I did not know that.
Yeah, man. I said, he goes, we should go get some, he wants oysters. I said, go get them from the W. It's going to be good. He goes, yeah, I'm sure they are. It's probably going to be like it's
They
gonna,
told you that?
they didn't even say it to me. He told me. Here, I'll
They told you that?
I'll tell you how much it
I
was.
asked them, I was like, they're like, we're gonna put a charge. I was like, what, just a couple $100? Fine. And they're like $1,000. I was like, I gotta sell some crypto or some shit.
Dude, they ain't say nothing to me.
W Boston, $564.
So where'd you get 1,000?
Because it's 2 nights.
Oh.
So it's like $564 a night.
What? Yeah. That's a James Brown response. Why?
It'll go away though after.
I know.
As
But
long as you don't come back tonight and go, that was a great show. I'm gonna celebrate with some.
I ain't gonna celebrate with a goddamn thing, but a look. Oh my God. Oh my God, kid. You guys are here.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Welcome to my neck of the woods. I can't believe you guys are here. I've seen the before. But Andy, you're gonna be here with the Wilbur kid. It's gonna be wicked, kid. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really mess with Jews. But you're a funny guy, kid. You're to die for. First of all, I gotta say, welcome to my city. Boston, one of the greatest cities in the world. And I like those up there in New York, where Aries is from. These are the real white folks here. We don't around white folks. And you come at a good time, Andy, because right now in the playoffs, we got the Celtics at the Boston Garden. They're doing good. They're poised to win the whole thing. I mean, I know those Knickerbockers are doing well too. Bobby, actually, it's Knickerbockers. That's what I said. Knickerbockers. What's the difference, kid? Anyway, the great thing about Boston is we got our own anthem. You've heard it. What city has its own anthem? You've seen it in the movies The Departed. You've heard it in Departed. You've heard it in the town. A driver. I know you're going to recognize this. Is that not the greatest song for a city ever? The only thing that would make that song better, kid, is if it had lyrics. And I actually wrote lyrics. You ready?
Yeah.
Here it is. Tom the Brady dee 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 dee. Tom the Brady dee 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 dee. Is that not to die for.
That's amazing.
Tom is the greatest 100% pure Anglo-Saxon, square-jaw, cliff-chin white man that God ever produced.
It's a shame you weren't on his roast.
Oh, I was there, kid. They just didn't know I was there. I was stalking him the whole night. I followed the limo. I hung out in his dressing room. He didn't know it, but when he was showering, if he would have looked up, I was looking down. I was there, kid. Anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing you both. Well, actually, let me be honest, to seeing you, Andy, at the Wilbur. All the white people are going to be there to support you. I'll be there front and center loud, cheering you on because you're white. And we got to stick together. We got the white people from Dorchester, Southie to North End, Charleston. Of course, they're going to come from Roxbury to see Aries. But anyway, I can't wait to see you. I want to hear all your jokes about your kid. It's going to be great. Aries, when you go on, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go. I got to go to a funeral. Bobby, it's going to be at night. That's the thing. You don't know, but it's a world-known fact that black people's funerals are held at night in the dark because they're dark. So I got to go to a black funeral. But Andy, I'm going to be there cheering you on, and I know you're going to do a great job. I look forward to it. Welcome to my white city, you white man. I love you, kid. Even though you're a Jew.
You know I'm Mexican, too.
You're a white man, as far as I'm concerned. Through and throw. I got to go. Bobby Patterson, by the way. I look forward to seeing Bobby.
Yeah. Yeah. He might have to do his own podcast one day.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how he could do it by himself. I would imagine he would want some help.
You're going to have to do it the Frank Caliendo way, that makeup, and then edit it together.
Or maybe I could have all the blacks just holding all the equipment. Like have a black guy holding a black mic in front of my face.
You on Bobby on one side, and then we edit it, and then there's you on the other side.
Me on the other side.
Yeah, so
that could be a way to go.
Yeah,
that could be a way to go.
I think it would be kind of interesting.
Speaking of Tom Brady, upon some requests, a lot of people were asking, they were saying, like, dude, you got to see the Tom Brady roast. We want to hear you guys talk about it. So I really wasn't gonna watch it, but then Andy suggested that it'd be a good idea to watch it. So
we're gonna be here.
We're gonna be here, and the timing. So I was like, you know what? Let me watch it. What'd you think?
I actually really enjoyed the roast. I thought it was long.
Yeah, I thought 2.5 hours is too long.
But I got into it because I understood that they taped it live, so we were going to get everything that went on.
Yeah.
they could
edit some stuff out.
But they could have edited a lot more out, actually.
I mean, most of those roasts. This is the first one I think for Netflix, but most of those roasts usually take place in Comedy Central. And those things about an hour, maybe.
They edit. Well, no, they're long too, but they edited down to about an hour.
Yeah, an hour felt right. At one point, I was watching this, and I'm just like, Jesus, man, we 30 minutes in, and I didn't know what the timing was, but I looked at it, I'm like, damn, thinking it's a half hour left. I'm like, an hour 35.
I think that,
or 2 hours.
I think that they should have moved all the surprise guests to the beginning, though.
Right.
I didn't need the surprise guest. At that time, I just wanted straight comedians doing their thing and moving through it. Because by the time we got to that, right around 2 hour mark, and they're still bringing up surprise guests, I'm like, I didn't need this surprise. That's not a.
I gotta say, you understand. I understand why Kevin is where he is. One, the guy's just so goddamn likable.
You, Aries.
And two, Kevin's really a funny man.
He really is.
Off the dome and roasting, Kevin is legit. The one thing that I do say that bothers me about these roasts, though, I spent an extra day in Green Bay. So as I was laying on my ass yesterday, flipping through the channel, they had I caught the tail end of the Justin Bieber roast. And at one point, I forget who did the joke, but I mean, Chris D'Elia is just falling out of his seat, smacking the armrest. And I go, again, Kevin's a bad, but dude, the overreactions to some of these jokes, it's like, turn the volume down. They're funny, but they're not. They're funny, but come on. Y'all motherfuckers is doing somersaults. You getting up out your chair every other joke, clapping 15 times. And I go, you know what? This is why I guess Kevin is partly where he is. He knows how to play the game.
Yeah.
And I remember when I watched the Charlie Sheen roast, you know, Patrice was on the dais, and he laughed, but Patrice never hammed it up. He gave you his honest, he never hammed it up. And I'm just going, something about seeing these comedians just over the top laugh. When you're going, we're comedians. We know what's really funny and what's not. And yes, some of them jokes were fire. But some of them reactions, I was just like, you is doing too much.
Okay, but here's the thing. That's why Patrice's career was the way Patrice's career is, and Kevin's is the way his is. And you got to look at it as those laughing and falling over. I'm going to be real honest about this. The laughing, the falling over, the flips, that's just sucking the Hollywood. That's what it is.
Yeah, and that's
Patrice wouldn't do that.
That's why it felt cringe to me, because I'm like, you are so over the top with these reactions.
Yeah, but there's the other thing too. We're not there in live to see it in context. Maybe there's something funny going on around it or next to it, or something that got cut out that made that joke.
I'm
even
not
funny.
giving that maybe.
I'm just saying it. I'm just saying.
No. And you know, listen, this is why I go the biggest mystery of Patrice. It would, you know, if he would have lived, everybody felt like he was about to make it on his terms.
Yes.
Without having to do all that. And I know that those are hard odds to overcome, because Hollywood rarely ever lets you do anything on your terms. But, you know, if you're potently funny, like Steve Martin said, be so good they can't ignore you. And I believe that if you're that good, you might have to wait a while. It may take you longer, but at some point, unless you just totally do something to totally destroy your career, it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's what makes people get up in the morning and keep doing it.
Right.
But the truth is, you know, you don't have to go anywhere. There are very funny people that are only known in the comedy community. That's it.
Yeah, listen, I don't have any particular order for this, because like a roast, it just goes wherever it goes.
Yeah.
But like, I thought that I listen, and I get it. The hype and the explosion that was Will Ferrell as Ron Burgundy was huge. Too long. I thought that went on for way too long. But maybe it's me, because I always said, I never got the whole Ron Burgundy hype anyway.
I was just going to say, it's part of that cult following. So if you were not a part of the Ron Burgundy thing.
Right.
But I will say this about that. And there was a moment when it hit me, and I saw it. And I saw Will Ferrell come out, and then I said, oh, my God. And I looked at him up there. I go, he really could have been Jerry Buzz.
Will Ferrell?
Yeah. That was originally supposed to be his part in Showtime.
As much as I couldn't see John C. Reilly in the beginning, but then he sold me with the acting chops, I can't see Will Ferrell, because I see just the comedian.
I didn't. I saw. I could see. I could see the look and how he could have played it, and even some of that. I think there's a bit of the bust thing in Ron Burgundy. So I saw that, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Because I'm so glad that John C. Reilly played it. I am. I mean, I thought he did an amazing job. But I can see, and we said this on the podcast. Neither of us saw Will Ferrell as that part when we talked about Showtime. I could see it when he was up there as Ron Burgundy a little bit. I mean,
maybe I could give you the visual a little bit, but dude, I'm so stuck on Will Ferrell and the comedic force that he's always been.
I could get past that.
Really?
If his acting was there, if he brought it, and he's such a committed guy when he goes into something, I think he could have done it.
But I don't recall anything that he's ever done dramatically where I could go, maybe. Like, we've seen Jim Carrey be serious. We've seen Robin Williams be serious.
Yeah.
We've even seen Adam Sandler be serious. What dramatic role has Will Ferrell ever played that made you go?
No, but John C. Reilly also was never. What's
He
his?
wasn't a comedian, but he was always an actor.
Yeah, but he did a lot of comedic stuff, and he was comedic even in some of his more serious roles. Had a little comedic edge to it. I think they're both talented, is what I'm saying, and I think given the opportunity, he might have been able to. I don't know if we never saw John C. Reilly and he came up with put his heart and in all of his acting ability into it. I could see it. I saw.
You
when
mean
Ron-
Will Ferrell?
Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell. I saw the ability to do it. I did. That's it. That's the only thing I took from him, watching him up there. And it was funny, but you're right. It could have been funnier, and it would have been really. And maybe they didn't want to do it, but if he would have cut to what's the guy? I'm going to forget his name, man. I'm mad at myself.
Were they some of his news anchors?
Yeah, the
Steve Carell,
not
the guy with the cowboy hat.
cat. Yeah.
I don't know his name. Mike Kroll or
No.
something.
Do you know his name?
There was.
Yeah.
Oh, him. Yeah, because it was
He was the sports
Paul
guy. Though.
Rudd,
Yeah.
Steve Carell, and that guy.
Yeah, but he was the sports guy, and it would have
Right.
just been funny if they would have just cut to him with some Tom Brady thing, just because he was on.
Right.
I thought maybe that was going to happen, and it didn't.
Listen, if I was a fan of the Ron Burgundy series, I'd have came in my pants. But as I said on the pod when we talked about, never did anything for me. That character.
No, it's funny, and it's funnier the second time you see it, and when you see it the third time, you start catching all these little details that you didn't even see in it in the first two times. And I mean it honestly. I saw more things in it, but I understand if you're not. A lot of people I know didn't like the movie. You had to like it, but so it was nice when it came on there for the people that liked it. It made sense. It fit the bill, but anything in particular? But somebody you didn't like that they had on the list?
Before I start getting to all the people that I liked, and I like pretty much everybody. Since I'm on the track of what I don't like,
yeah, that's why.
Let me tell you, when the thing opened up, and I didn't know who was going to be a part of it, and they start naming the names, the moment they said Kim Kardashian, I wanted to throw my iPad across the plane. And then I'm sorry, but I felt a little bit of satisfaction where what I didn't know, which they showed on the internet, there was a long extended version that they cut down where she got booed mercilessly when she went up. To the point where at one point the boos were so loud and so long, they showed her going, okay, guys, okay. And of course, when we saw what we saw, they cut all that out. So you heard a little bit of the boos, but on the internet, what you saw uncut, they let that have it. And you know what? I'm glad.
But what was? I mean, I know.
I can't stand the fact that this broad is famous and treated like celebrity royalty and does nothing, contributes nothing, can't sing, can't dance, can't act. You just a that's known for a sex tape with Ray J. Now, yeah, you may have built the empire with the East show and keeping up with the Kardashians, but there is just no substance to this airhead.
Yeah, there must be something.
You know what? I shouldn't even blame her. I should blame all the people that support her.
Yeah.
Because I just go, what is the draw? There's 15 minutes of fame that this girl has stretched into something. It's just like, otherwise, why would they boo her? Why would they boo her?
Listen, I don't know. I didn't see that, and I'm glad I didn't see it because what I saw of it was so bad. Just the little bit that she was on there was so bad and so not worth seeing. And so just it falls, like you said, into why? What's the worship for this person? Listen, I'm not mad at it. Like you said, I'm not really mad at her. What is the worship, though? I'm not mad at her. I'm mad that this takes place. And then they feed it by putting her. What did she do? Did she might have Tom Brady? Is that the thing? She did.
I thought they said they were rumored to be dating.
Dating. So that's what I'm saying. She might have.
Right.
And she, whatever it is, he's some other people. Should we go throughout his history of who he's and bring them up there for 30 seconds apiece?
Right.
She just did. She contributed nothing. She contributed nothing to the roast. I'm not even going to talk about her regular life because
That's like when she was on SNL. I mean, word. And you knew she wasn't going to do like most comics and write their own monologue, even though I'm sure some comics probably get help from the writers with the
I'm
monologue.
sure that they do.
But you just know. You don't even have the talent to come out and be a little funny on your own. Your whole monologue has been written for you. So what is your purpose there?
And she reads it like it was written for her, and she's reading it off the prompt.
And that was the other thing I was going to say. Dude, it's funny. whenever you have people on the dais that aren't comedians, be it athletes or rappers or anybody non-comedic, and part of a roast is it's comedic. It's cringy for me to watch them because they deliver it like someone who's not a comedian. There's a certain stiffness to it, staleness to it, and it's like when you deliver jokes. This is what I loved about what's my man name from Austin with the podcast, Tony.
Oh, Tony Hinchcliffe.
Tony Hinchcliffe. This is what I loved about Tony Hinchcliffe and all Nikki Glazer. And I'm not a big Nikki Glazer fan.
Don't save that because I want to talk about that.
But any of the comedians, the moment you get on that dais and it's time to do your roast, you deliver it like a comedian. It's material. There's a flow and a rhythm and a cadence and a beat to what we do. And I gotta say, of all the athletes, hats off to Gronk. Because Randy Moss, cringe. I mean, Peyton Manning has got some funniness to him. But for the most part, when athletes and rappers and non-comedians try to be funny, it just comes off.
Well, since you brought up Peyton before we get off of him, because I'm sure you don't have a lot of notes on him, right?
No.
He's a public figure. He public speaks. He does commercials,
right.
And it's very his piece on there was very professional. That's what I was going to say about his.
Right.
But it was professional. I didn't know that it was. There was a few funny parts in there, but he was worth having on there,
right.
Especially because of the perceived animosity between the two.
Right.
So I thought that was really good. I didn't feel the same way with Gronk as that you feel.
Dude, I do because, and here's what was interesting. Dane Cook had been posting some his straight to camera thoughts about the roast because he was there in the audience. And one of the things he said that I totally agreed with was he was like, you know what's great about Gronk? Of course, everybody's joke is the stupid angle. I'm a big dummy. He's playing it up to the T.
Yeah.
Gronk is one of the smartest people, most charismatic people in the game. But he knows that's how people see him. So he's taking that and he's running to the bank with it. And you know what? He's selling the out of it.
He's selling it, but when he went and broke the thing,
right.
the glass, and that's on stage. There's people out there.
Yeah.
It was so over the top and unnecessary. I was like, okay, so you play a beast. You're going to allow people to market you as this beast so that you could run with it.
Right.
But then you do something that's frat boy.
But that's how he's perceived.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes you have to keep a little bit of integrity to yourself.
Listen, if he would have taken a full big wine bottle and done that, then I would have been like, yeah, people's safety. Not saying that when the shot glass breaks, there isn't a piece of glass that could shoot in the audience and catch somebody, but it's a shot glass.
But see, me and you could even say that and think about that and say, yeah, it could. Just to have no concern. That could happen. We're intelligent enough to have concern that might happen. No intelligence.
But we're talented enough to not have to lean on that.
Yeah.
We're not the frat boy image. And our jokes, like I said about Kathy Griffin, our jokes are our weapon. So we can lean on our weapon. For a guy like Gronk, who's not naturally funny and doesn't have that in his arsenal, that plays up to the to the Animal House
I get it.
John Belushi persona.
If you're overly mannish, if you're
Right.
overly just it's too much for me too. And Gronk took it to that level to me when he was on there.
I disagree.
That's how I felt.
I disagree.
That's how I felt with
totally. Matter of fact, of all the athletes, the only one that I thought, the three that I liked was Gronk, Peyton, and the Jewish dude.
I forgot. I didn't even remember his name.
He was loose.
He has a podcast, so he's used to doing
yeah.
that.
So, but dude,
What is
like
his
Moss was cringe. Bill Belichick was cringe, but because of Bill Belichick's stoic persona, dry, persona, he looks like he's never happy, even when he's happy. That works for him.
I thought he was true to his character.
Yes.
Who he is.
Yes.
I mean, it was a little cringy. He doesn't come off smooth, but he shouldn't, because that's not his area.
Right.
So I was okay with that. Robert Kraft, just very old. So I'm not going to be mad at
Right.
him. He did as well as for any other old dude that I want, and took the beating for some of the things that he's done and has been said about him, and smiled throughout the whole thing.
I saw where Andrew Schultz was talking about the roast after the roast, and the question was, when Tom Brady went up to Jeff Ross and said, "Don't do that again," because he made the joke about Robert Kraft. People were wondering, was Tom serious to Jeff Ross about that? And most people are saying he was. Like, because I think they said beforehand, certain Robert Kraft jokes you couldn't do. So Jeff Ross did the Robert Kraft joke. And remember that moment when Tom Brady walked up to the podium and whispered, "Don't do that again," and then walked away? Schultz was like, afterwards, when the taping was over, Ross was very apologetic to Brady. So I was like, damn. Because that moment to me, I don't know what was real, but that moment to me was like, okay, he did that. Was he playing or was he real?
I think he's protective of Robert Kraft because he's older. He was kind of like a father-ish figure to him because he was up for the team. He had a relationship with him, and I just think that he sees him as an older mentor that is now in declining years, and that you got to be respectful to those guys. And he was willing to be on the roast, so there was a line that I think that Brady must have set out there for him. Right. So that's cool that he has that much. That Brady has that much. I think if me and you were there, we'd be like, you got to be able to roast them the way you want to roast them, right?
It's funny because, and I know when we talked about the Mike Tyson roast, we touched upon this. But this is why this is a little hypocritical, because the whole purpose of a roast is anything goes.
Yeah.
But I know that when they did the Charlie Sheen roast, and Tyson was on the dais, the one thing they said to everybody was no rape jokes. You can f with Mike about anything you want to f with, but he don't want you to f with rape jokes. So I'm sure there obviously is a point before the show where they tell you certain things are off limits. Well, okay, but is it a true roast now?
Yeah, it depends. If they put a bunch of things, if they put one thing in, try not to run over this old man in the middle of the road. Yeah, I think that to a limit, because they did roast him a little bit, and no one got mad about that. No one got mad about all the stuff that they said.
Well, I saw Nikki Glaser on Howard Stern after the fact, and she was saying there was a bunch of jokes she had that she really wanted to do that they wouldn't let her do.
Yeah.
Andrew Schultz said the same thing. I remember when we talked about it again with the Charlie Sheen roast, when Amy Schumer said the thing to Steve-O about your friend being killed, and she went, "Oh, we wish we were you." Yeah. He goes, "Why wasn't it? Whatever he said.
Why wasn't it?
Well, whatever the joke was." And then it cut to Steve-O's face, and he was genuinely hurt. And you and I talked about that, and a lot of people in the comments was like, "That," and I think a lot of that came from the fact that they didn't like Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
But again, if we're being technical about what a roast is, what's crossing the line?
Now,
it's a roast.
That I didn't feel was crossing the line at all, because it is in fun. He's obviously there.
Not for him, it was fun. It wasn't fun.
But you're on the roast. You're on the dais. You're sitting on the stage. But with Robert Kraft, he isn't on the stage. He's he's an innocent victim in this. But I mean, not innocent, but he's innocent in it. The fact that he's not he's sitting on a table. And the other thing about it with Brady, and that it's Brady's roast, he's willing to do it. So if he has a few things that he puts out there, because Brady took everything that everybody had to send his way. And if he just wants to say you can't, there's a limit on what you can do with Robert Kraft.
Well, Nikki Glaser didn't necessarily confirm it, but she was like, I think one of the things that, because he didn't know what they were going to say. He just, whatever he implemented to go, maybe don't do this, that was it. But she said the one thing that she could kind of feel that he took to heart, that kind of hurt him a little bit, were the jokes about him losing his family. Because she goes, at the end of the day, even though he was brave enough to put himself through that, he's got to go home with that. And then when he's at home by himself, those jokes start to stay with you. Yeah. And you have time to think about them. So,
the family stuff I could get, but I remember I ran the joke when he left, the Giselle ending, and I said, that's how badass are you that you are at the end of your career, and you're at the end of your career, you're older, you're everything, but you still know that you're still bad enough that you could walk away from your marriage to what was arguably at the time a supermodel, and know that you're fine, like you're good, like that's how good he is. That's
but is he? Yeah. We don't really know.
No, we don't.
But is he?
Let's. I would assume he is.
I saw online today where it was reportedly said that Giselle was pissed
About the roast?
Yeah.
Why?
Because all the jokes about her the jiu-jitsu guy.
It's funny.
To us? But should we care about her feelings?
Honestly, on a roast, no. And if that's what happened, no. And if it didn't happen, who cares? She shouldn't care if it's a roast and it was meant to be funny.
I would think the only reason she would care is because it is
It's
true.
true. And so then that's, unfortunately, if it is true, you live with that.
You know, I know everybody says at the end of these things, man, you're so ballsy for doing this and hats off to you for... But I got to believe some of these dudes regret it. Because they probably go into it with an idea that, yeah, I know I'm going to be with and I want to be with. But they sometimes underestimate the power of these comedians, man. And these go for blood. And it's on TV. And it's being seen in front of gazillions of people. So even though you were ballsy in thought, once it happens, you don't think there's some regret?
I don't know. Maybe because if you're not prepared, yeah. If you're not prepared, I still when I can catch them on TV, I'll still watch a Dean Martin roast, those
Right.
old roasts, and they were ruthless in those roasts back then.
But those are comics roasting comics.
Yeah. So it's almost fair.
Right. When you're a regular citizen,
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot for them to have to deal with.
yeah, because they're not used to being with like that on that level.
But that's what it is, getting the piss taken out of you because you've been an entity that's been on an upper echelon that hasn't been.
Right.
So I think it's, I think it shows who you are. And I think that the fact that they're brave enough to do it, yes. Yeah, I'm sure it sticks with them for a while. But if anybody is going to get through it, I mean, they have a pretty decent life. But do you have any more? I want to ask you, out of all the roasters, though, and because you just said who could come and just cut you down.
Right.
Who was your favorite then on this? Because I'm tied.
I'm tied too.
What
But
do
if
you-
I have to give the win to Nikki Glazer.
Yeah, man. And I was going to say
And Tony second.
Tony second, but by Nikki's
cunt
nose.
hair.
By Nikki's nose.
Hilarious.
Listen, Nikki, I think she's funny, but I never was I didn't think
I'm
she was.
still not.
I didn't think she was that funny.
No, I'm not going to even give it that funny.
No.
An ability to roast and stand up,
Yeah.
two different things.
Yes, but
Stand up, I'm not a big fan. Roast, I'm a fan.
I think as a comic, she's funny. She's not, like you say, not necessarily my particular cup of tea. Is that how you said it? But I see her funny. I see what makes her funny.
She's not my particular pair of panties.
Okay. But that roast, and she's been on a lot of roast. She ripped that roast.
Dude, when she said something about this thing is going long, but I promise I'll keep this Kevin Hart,
Yeah.
a.k.a. Short.
And with the perfect, dropped it in.
And that's what Dane Cook was saying about her timing and her rhythm, and it was just pop, 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 pop. But then when she goes talking about his wife with the jiu-jitsu instructor, and she said, that's unfortunate for you, Tom, because as mad as you are, he can beat your ass while eating your wife's. Oh my God.
So good.
Oh my God.
She was hitting.
And I'm going as a man, as Tom Brady, that don't sting a little bit. Because now we talking about, it's one thing for your wife and you visually, she getting piped by another, but you can't even beat his ass if you mad about it. So you got to take that.
Or you run him over with the car when he ain't looking.
That's always an option.
There's always possibilities. But here's the thing that I loved about this is, and this is where the power of comedy, and don't ever take your eye off the ball in this game, because I'll say this. So Nikki, did she come on after Kim Kardashian?
I think so.
Yeah, I thought it was after Kim Kardashian.
It may have been before. I don't remember.
I think it was after, because I remember when her coming up, and I looked at my son, because I watched it with Max. I was in Phoenix, and I watched it with him, and I said, "All right, Kim first. Now this." I wasn't ready
Towards Nikki. Now this.
Yeah, now this,
Right.
because I think she's funny. I get that she's funny. I know that she's funny. I'm not taking anything away from her, but on the roast, she always it seemed like there was a little pullback, not pullback. It was just never cut as deep as she had the ability to. Let's put it that way.
I never knew she had the ability.
Yeah, she did, but not like that. But when she came up and she threw out the first like 3 lines, I just looked at my son and go, I'm off bad on this one. Sorry.
Right.
And I was watching. I mean, I apologized to my son for not thinking that she was going to murder this in front of while she was still going on. I go, she's killing it. And when she was done, I was like, oh.
Listen, if it wasn't for Tony, she buried all the dudes.
Yeah.
But what I loved about Tony was the way he did it. He literally went from where he was sitting up on the dais, pow, 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 walking down the line, snipering everybody.
Like an assassin. Just like an assassin.
Ooh. I don't know if his jokes hit as hard as Nikki, which is why I'm just giving Nikki the edge. But like you said, her nose. But the way he did it. And then when he hit Burt Kreischer with that King joke, you live as something King and beat like Rodney King and something King. Yo.
No, he killed it. He
That
crushed
was-
it.
that was-
And what was great about it, and this is why.
Oh, to Sam J about the eating the. Oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
But what I loved about it even more, when you roast, people have a tendency to roast and they come out of their personality, who they are.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not necessarily who they are, but how they tell jokes. They go into their roast mode.
Right.
Tony stayed in his comic mode. That's how Tony talks on stage. The only time he put any real emphasis on anything was the hell nah joke.
Which you had to, because black people, that's the, oh, hell no.
Yeah, that's the only way you could do it.
That's right. You have to deliver that like that.
But everything is exactly the way that he would tell it on stage, or if he was on his podcast. He stayed within his. He didn't go out. He didn't go out to try to do anything. He didn't try to push anything up. He just went with what he does and beat the room down. Yeah. So I was so impressed with the fact that he didn't have to do anything extra. You know, even listen, Kevin Hart, as funny as he is, he's always on extra anyway. That's his loud, the way that he delivers a punchline.
Right.
And he, like I said, he did a great job. But he still has a little extra roasting too. That little, you dumb, you know. Right. But it's still within his character.
It works for him.
Yeah.
Because his size.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that a little strong.
Yeah.
That it beats you up. You know what I mean? He's a threat. Despite his size, he's a threat.
So, but Tony just stayed in his pocket the whole way, and I was so impressed by that.
Right.
And that not only is that show great writing, but that just shows his talent. Just shows his talent as he came across there. And like you said, you know, once he said your name, you knew. Well, after the first 3, if he said your name, you know, you're fucked.
Right.
He got you, and he did. He took every single one of them.
I thought Sam J started off slow, but by the time she finished, I was like, okay.
Sam J, the first time I saw her live doing, I think it was somewhere in New York. I went to the show that she was on, and I got to tell you, man, I watched her, and I was like, this is one of the most brutally funny comedians I've ever seen. And the fact that she's a lesbian, whatever she is, let's
well, when Tony said fat black lesbian, he was basically saying Netflix covered all their bases.
Yeah. But she doesn't. When you watch her set, when she's doing her stand up, unless it's her special, but when she's running jokes, she doesn't ever lean on that. She doesn't ever try to put that in there. She's just every time. Like all of her jokes are just so right in pocket like that, but she doesn't lean on anything other than her jokes when she's on stage. And I got done. I was like, she's incredible.
I thought she was good. She didn't blow me away.
No, she wasn't as good as she is in, like you said, in stand-up.
Right.
I think she's better in stand-up than on the roast, but we'll see as this keeps going. Who was the one that said we only have two black guys on this show? And it took a while to hit, and Sam J was the one laughing.
No, it wasn't Kevin. No,
it was someone else.
Was it Kevin? It might have been Kevin.
Might have been. I don't know who said it, but it didn't hit right away. People didn't catch it right away.
Right.
And Sam J is laughing her ass off, and I was like, "This, like what you said. These are your bullets. This is your skill set.
Right.
You're a comedian. You get it." And she rolled right. This is one of the best roasts I've ever seen.
What'd you think of Tom and Bert?
I thought it was very much their podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't blown away by it.
It was funny. It was, if you listen to their podcast, it fits
Right.
the pod, and they have a very popular podcast.
Right.
But it was their podcast, and it was, you know how I would describe it? It was cute.
Yeah, I love when they showed the picture of Tom with the football with no shirt, and they said, "What are you, pregnant?"
Yeah.
And
And
athletes often make this mistake of at some point wanting to show their artistic side of themselves.
And that was very young in
and
his
and
career.
it often looks horrible.
Oh, that
That's
was-
like when Kobe did the photo layout with him in the all white. And at one point, one of them pictures had on a white top hat and it just in a white vest. This looked like Bojangles. I mean, it wasn't a good look. It just wasn't a good look. Some of these athletes should have somebody in a Mac Mittens.
Yeah.
One of they boys to go, hey, nigga,
Nah.
you trying to do this Basquiat artistic? It don't look good.
I think that I get what your point is on it, but no, man, this was something. This was special.
What I will say is, and I almost feel a little like, because I know how popular this roast was in terms of people watching it. And Kevin had said something that, I had one of my jokes is always about white boys with all the gay.
Yeah.
And when Kevin said twice, the second time he came, all you white boys just white boying. All these gay jokes you do. So, I'm almost nervous, like, when I do the joke now, people might think, oh, he got that from Kevin. But I had been doing that.
No, and that joke, the way you do it is you do it with the character.
Yeah.
So, no.
But what was funny was, at one point, as some of the dudes on the dais kept doing these, I want to you, Tom, I'll suck your Tom jokes, they would either cut to Tom's reaction, and over his shoulder was Willie McGinnis, black dude.
Yeah.
And then when
Three black guys on the show.
right,
That's right.
And then whoever was on the dais, when you looked over their shoulder, was a black dude. And I just love how all the faces is, we not having this. While you guys are all dying about sucking Tom's and being by him, the was stoic.
Yeah.
Like, this gay y'all be on, man. And that's why when Kevin was calling it out, I was like, yeah, man, that just don't fly with us, man.
No, and it's funny because it's a very Bobby Patterson. It is. Like, everything that was being said was very Bobby Patterson-like. So, yeah, but there's nothing wrong with saying Tom Brady's a good-looking dude. He is a good-looking dude. But I've had people say on Vlad when I've done it, pause, no homo, now no Diddy. And I got into a whole thing about that. I'm man enough to, my eyes, I know what I see. Tom's a good looking, but I'm not sitting here going, yo, what would it be like suck Tom? Man, I that pretty white boy. Now that's a different thing. Yeah, extremely different. Yeah, I never really honestly, this is where the complication in me comes up, where I say, I walk through the world white. I get it. I say white. I don't do this, dude. When I hug, like if I have a hug for a you do that the hug.
Right.
That hug's quick. It's about confirming. Yeah, but that's it. You're done. There's no extra hang on for a second even. I don't understand. I would never, even on the podcast when we make certain jokes, sometimes I'm uncomfortable in even us going too far.
You walk through the world white, but you got collard green juice in your beard.
Dude,
you got fried chicken grease on your fingertips.
So when I see this, it's like, why would you have that? Why? And then why is it funny?
And there was so many of them jokes.
And it wasn't. And you go, honestly, they're not funny. To me, they're not really that funny jokes.
They're funny to the college frat, boys will be boys, wild ass, Jägermeister drinking, pong playing fraternity. But yeah, to black men and dudes like you, like, okay, listen, it just was too much.
And it's not about homophobia or anything like that. I might you do that joke where you go, hey, put so-and-so's passed out, put your
penis on us and take a picture.
Dude, I've been in rooms where people are trying to do that.
Right.
I'm like, nah, sorry. Now, drawing a on someone's face because they passed out, I'm all for that. That's funny to me because that has
You're
no
not into live action.
Yeah, that's it. That's what they passed out,
Right.
and they deserve to wake up, look
Right.
in the mirror, and go, "Oh,
You don't mind comic strip on the face.
Yeah,
But live
no,
action, no.
no, man, it doesn't make sense to me." But when I watched that, there was, like you said, there was a point where it was funny. Like the first time, I think it was funny because you weren't expecting it. But when we got to the third person doing it, I was like, that's enough.
That almost ran for the whole 2 hours, those jokes.
That was, yeah.
I know that he's been on every roast, and he was known as the roast master, Jeff Ross.
Yeah.
He was like, they call him master because he would go last because he was just the best at it. I think it's time to relinquish that title and that crown.
Maybe, but
And let me be honest, dude. When I've seen a lot of these roasts, whether it was Pamela Anderson, Charlie Sheen, Justin Bieber, David Hasselhoff, Trump, I never thought Jeff was the strongest. I don't know how he got that title. Before he passed away, Greg Giraldo was a beast.
Yeah.
With the roast.
I think
Now, obviously, Jeff Ross has been the most consistent.
consistent. That's what I was going to say. He's
But in
consistent.
terms of blow for blow, joke for joke, line for line, nah, yo.
No, I don't think, you got, let's say there's 10 people on there and you're the roast master. You got 10 chances that someone's going to have a better joke than you. But he is consistent. And when I've seen him live, and when he brings people up to roast him, he's quick, dude. And like, I'm going, that's canned, and then
What do you mean canned?
Like
Like
something
planned?
that he's had it in his
okay.
pocket. But then someone will come up and say something that has nothing to do with anything, and it'll be the best joke that he has, and it's off the top.
Well, that's like with him and Attell when they bumped the mics.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
I think I don't know that it's time for him to give it up. I think he's consistent. He brings it through.
Oh, I don't think he
and
should
brings
give it
through.
up. I just never understood why he had that title.
I think because it was something he was willing to do, and he was quick at it, and he was, like you said, consistent. It was always on a higher level. Each joke was. But who was it? Nikki that roasted him? Something about his. I don't know. It was one of Nikki's, and it was a great roast on Jeff too. So I keep going back to her roast, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah. And I don't think they should. I don't know why they did it, but I don't think they should have saved Ben Affleck for last.
No, I didn't want him last
Because he had to basically follow everybody.
Yeah, and he wasn't able to. He didn't
At
have,
all.
There's no energy coming from Ben.
At all.
Ben Affleck, if he's not acting, he's not the most energetic guy in the first place.
Yeah.
He always comes in very serious.
And low key.
Yeah, so that's why I said I wish they
He
would
should have been at the top, maybe.
They should have had. They should have. I wish. No, that wouldn't have worked either. But yeah, he should have came in early in the show, like when. Like I said, they should have had all the special guests that aren't comedians at the beginning of the show. They should have came in between comics at the very beginning.
Right.
Or you could have put them all at the front and just run them. They could have went after Kim Kardashian. Everyone would have been better after that.
Right. And this is, again, where I got to tip my hat off to Kevin, because Kevin ultimately was the host. And that's why I say that's a gig and a skill set I don't have and I don't want to have. I like to do my thing, destroy the motherfucking joint, and get the fuck out of Dodge. Well, you have to keep coming back and maintaining that
And you got to stay in the moment.
in the moment. Kevin's good at that, man.
Yeah.
He's good at that.
He actually had there was a part in there where there was that little Jamie Foxx thing where he was starting to say things where you
Right.
could hear him, where he was saying it to the other person.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. But Jamie killed that so hard
Right.
that you can't help but think about him
Right.
doing that. But I didn't think that he was taking on anything away from what Jamie Foxx did. He was just doing it because it fit the moment.
Right.
Because who was trying to figure out what it was? It was a Gronk. Oh yeah, he was trying to help Gronk through it.
Yes. Oh, at one point when he goes, sound it out.
Yeah, sounded out.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think this is the best roast. Do you think?
Right.
Have you seen a better one? Can you think of a better one?
I still think hands down the Flavor Flav roast is
that's an old
that
one.
is one of the most powerful roasts. And I want to say the one with Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen was just weird though because he was that was when he was at his weirdest.
Be it as it may.
But the comedians wise, the roasting of the comedians,
Yeah,
you think
yeah.
these I thought this one hit harder.
Well, who was the one being roasted when the English comedian made the joke about Pete Davidson's dad on 9/11.
Oh. I forgot.
Was it Pete Davidson?
Yeah, because his dad is the one who died.
No, it was Pete Davidson about the joke, but the main person being roasted was
Oh,
it
who
Pete
was it?
Yeah,
No,
was it?
it was the Pete Davidson roast, wasn't it?
Was it?
Did Pete Davidson have a roast? Was he roasted? He was roasted, right?
I don't think he had a roast.
Who was he roasted then? Who was he on the dais with when he was on? He was only on one time.
No, he was on the Justin Bieber roast.
Oh, he was.
And he was on that roast where the dude made the joke about his dad on 9/11.
I don't know, but that was a great
Yeah,
joke. And
yeah.
you saw Davidson just roll with it. Davidson makes those jokes.
Yeah.
So
But again, Davidson's a comedian. The day you do a roast as a comedian and your feelings get hurt, you're handing your badge.
you don't think Patrice has got hurt when
No.
about the dying? About
No.
dying? You think he just rolled with those?
Yes.
Those were to be funny. You don't think there was any
No.
about anything about being dead?
No.
Do you think though, if you make those jokes, even as a comic, right? You make those jokes about like Patrice, right? Amy Schumer's jokes about, and then he's in the hospital within a couple weeks, and then he's on his
No,
deathbed.
you
Do you
didn't know
think
that was gonna happen.
yeah? But do you think
Yeah.
do you feel bad?
No, you didn't know that was going to happen. And you did your job. You know?
I
You did your job.
I know. I just think it's like when Howard Stern,
Right.
he wishes cancer on people all the time. The people that he hates, he'll wish cancer on him or some kind of
Right.
death on him. And I always thought, man, that's a
Well, we know that life is f***ed up and unfair, which is why he can do that and won't nothing happen to him. But people that don't deserve to get cancer get it and
cancer.
die.
So there's no. So you can't take responsibility just because you say it.
No.
All right. I'm very. I'm just too weird, man. Because I don't know that I could say that to someone. I don't know that I could say that way. I know I couldn't wish cancer on someone. I
Right.
know I couldn't because it within me I would feel guilty and like cancer was hiding behind the tree waiting for me now that I
Right.
said something like that. But I get more power to you, I guess, if you can do it and you can stay funny. And you're right though. You didn't cause it. You didn't put that.
Right.
In. You're just saying it's just words in the air. But
Yeah.
still, man, it freaks me
But
out.
yeah, in terms of like just powerfully funny jokes, boom, boom, comedian. I think that Flavor Flav is right. That has to be in the top 3.
Yeah, I can't deny it. This is just I guess this one's current and it just felt better because
You know,
it's
again, as much as we don't care for each other personally anymore, I think Comedy Central and the people that put these roasts together are making a huge mistake by never having Corey Holcomb on. Because Corey is a monster.
well, if you want him,
When it comes to that talking smack, Corey is a beast. One of my favorite Corey Holcomb jokes. They used to have a show called, I think it was called Snaps, where comedians would face off face to face, insulting each other. And Corey said to one dude, "Your mama so dirty, the middle of her panties look like hot wing paper." Man, come on.
dude, you should get a group together, a few comedians. You should do a thing called the Cookout, and it's the Cookout roast, and it's just black comics. You throw the one white guy in there every now and then, just
Right.
just to be kind.
Right.
But call it the Cookout.
Yeah. That's one of those that, I mean,
Why wouldn't there?
there's been adorations of that.
Yeah, but
little bits here and
It's
there.
been called the Cookout.
I don't know what it's been called, but there's never been one that has either stuck around long enough or had enough of an impact to where, like, Def Jam was an explosion. After Def Jam, a smaller degree of that, but was still an explosion. Comic View. I've seen where they've tried to do those kind of shows, and none of them really ever took off.
I think you could do a Cookout show now and just do that roast battle like that.
Right.
Like just roasting. Pick someone and roast them.
Yeah, again, that's a skill set that I know I can. Well, I wish I was as good at it as those guys. I have done it. I can do it, but I don't feel as confident about that as I do like when I'm just doing crowd work, because that's a different beast, man.
I can do it. I'm not comfortable with it because I'm afraid people are going to really see who I am. Like they're going to know. Like it's too easy for me to say horrible about someone, and I don't like that part of me.
But
So,
horrible is one thing. The art is making it horrible and funny.
it will be funny, but it's horrible, and I feel
See, the horrible part don't matter to me as long as it's funny.
it hurts me. Like I feel like people are gonna figure me out,
Right.
and I don't need you to know that I'm a horrible person.
Like if it was a roast and Dwayne Wade, and I know I said this on the podcast, if it was a roast and Dwayne Wade was the roast of honor, I remember when I tweeted when he was like really starting to decline. I don't know why this takes showers after the game. He's already washed up. That's a boom. That's a roast worthy hit.
Yeah,
But can I do that consistently with everybody on the dais?
see, and it's so hard because like you did it, and didn't you take it down after you put it up?
No, I didn't take it
You
down.
left it up?
No.
It's so hard because, like you said,
He said something back. I forget what he said.
well, we're comedians, so it's funny.
Right.
He's not a comedian, and then he takes it personal. So that's what hurts about it.
Right.
I feel I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a tough one. It's a tough one when you roast someone who's, especially when it's not a roast. You roasted him, and he's
But if you're roasting your peers,
yeah.
doesn't the idea that it's fair game allow you to throw that shit right out the window?
Yeah, because you're not hitting someone who's already down. This is the whole thing about punching down and punching up. If someone is high in doing well in life, has a good, it shouldn't be a big thing for a comedian to make a joke.
Yeah.
But it is. But to some people, it still is. And then you gotta. How would you respond to someone gave you? You respond to people. I don't even understand that.
Listen, I've been roasted by regular civilians.
Yeah.
And I'll be damned if they beat me. But I'm not gonna lie, I would be nervous to be on a dais being roasted by other comedians because I know they're equipped to fight the fight.
Yeah.
So could I stand? Could I go toe to toe and stand my ground and get a couple of victories? I don't know. I'd like to believe I could, but I've never been roasted by other comedians.
See, I think comedians that do impressions, you only need like 6 of them because then you got like 28 people on the stage doing the roast.
You mean actual impressions?
Well, yeah. Well, if you have comedians that do impressions,
Right.
like, just think about some of your people that do impressions and you have them on a roast. That's a big roast because they're going to bring all the characters with them too.
But that don't work on a roast.
I don't know.
Doing your impressions doesn't work on a roast. That might even be seen as hacky.
Do you think so?
Because you're forcing something that doesn't belong.
I don't know. I think that if Al Pacino started roasting someone,
I think
No?
I think that'll be deemed hacky because it's like, dude, you're leaning on your impression.
Well, if it-
on that skill set to make good on another skill set when one has nothing to do with the other.
I don't know if you could write it in there. I think it would be funny.
Listen, anything is creatively possible. I just think it's tough enough to roast somebody as you.
The joke about where they actually say something about Tracy Morgan, that he had to be hit by a Walmart truck to be
Right.
I forgot whose joke
I know
was.
what you.
Damn, these jokes were good. As I'm thinking about it,
Right.
when we're on there. I really enjoyed this one. You know what was so great about this? My son is like old enough, and he gets all the references, and this. The people that we're talking about crosses over between both of us, and I got to watch it with him. I think that made this roast probably more amazing than any other roast,
Right.
Because we were laughing our ass off.
Yeah.
But when we got to after 2 hours, we started looking at each other like, "This is long."
Yeah. And again, the rules for a roast should be there are none. So therefore, that being said, it still feels like white comics are apprehensive to with black people with black jokes. I love it when they do.
Oh yeah.
Throw that shit out the window, man. But it feels like even the audience is like, because black people, we supposed to be off limits with black jokes because we've suffered and endured so much. But at a roast, man,
Jokes are
that.
jokes, man.
Jokes are jokes.
No, and I'm glad you said that because we forgot one that did do a good job. I don't think that his was. I don't think that his was in the top 2. Obviously, was Andrew Schultz. I was expecting him to come with it
we
harder.
didn't even mention him.
Yeah, I know.
But you know what?
His was good.
His was good, but yes, harder.
But he got
Right.
beat by 2 people before him.
Right.
And and he was there the whole time, and you're kind of waiting for him to come up.
Right.
I mean, I was really waiting for him. And by no means am I saying he didn't have a good roast.
No, he was good, but again, based on who he is, his stand up, and he's one of them white dudes that go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the
expected
time we
more.
waited, it was at the end of the roast. So you're already tired. And as a person, you're
It was.
tired.
It's almost like as long as we waited for the fight that should have been a long time ago, when we finally got Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, it just didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah. But that was Schultz. I'm glad we did it. We got back to him because his roast was great. It was like, again, just the end. And I remember when I first started doing comedy, and you wanted to close out the show because that made you the headliner on the show.
Right.
And I learned right away, if there's more than 7 comics on that show, you definitely do more than 5.
If there's 3 comics on the show and you're one of the 3, and them first 2 are bangers,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I don't care if how good the show is. If you're the 9th comic on the show,
right.
You waited too long. I always would take the spot 3 to 5, wherever it was, 3 to 5 on a.
Because just people just naturally get tired.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't give a damn how much it feels good to laugh. It hurts after a while. If you're laughing that hard when you get an ab workout, you rubbing your jaws, your temples, you're getting into pain now. So it is too much of a good thing.
The first time I got into comedy albums, a neighbor down the street, I must have been, I don't know, maybe only 7 or 8 years old, maybe 9. I think I was 9, because I got to hear Bill Cosby, but I got to hear Cheech and Chong too, Up in Smoke. Bill Cosby to me was so and still one of the funniest comics ever was Why Is There Air, and Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke, and I listened to those two, and I had to do PE, physical education, that next day, and we had to run and do some stuff. I was in pain from laughing.
Do you remember when we were in Green Bay, you said you were going to say there was something you didn't like, and I said save it for the podcast.
Kim Kardashian.
Was that it?
Yeah, it was it, and
okay.
we hit it right away.
And you know what? I love when Nikki Glazer went about Gronk. Even Gronk knows about crypto.
Oh, that
me know that no real money. That's the one where Kevin just got up and was going nuts. But man, dude,
she again, and Nikki, I doubt you'll ever hear this. I've seen you many times. I've always thought you were funny. Like I just didn't. But this was on another level, man. You destroyed. Tony killed it. But I hadn't seen roasting like that probably in several roasts. The guys really came at it. Everybody came at it hard. It was
even Tom Brady when he hit that one joke and said something about how he had been down on his knees begging so hard for Netflix to get Dave Chappelle to host.
Yeah, that was good that he turned that around.
And again, let me say, for an athlete, his delivery was, it wasn't as stiff as most athletes are.
No, he
Randy Moss was terrible.
Randy,
it was cringe.
Randy, when's the last time you saw Randy do public speaking? What commercials is Randy doing? What is Randy doing?
Yeah.
Randy played ball and he retired.
Well, he's a commentator, but he's talking about sports. So that's his element.
And he's with the guys that he talks sports
yeah.
with.
Yeah.
But when they said that thing about who's the one who said it? He looks like he was dressed for. Oh, I forgot what it was. It was so perfect what they said. I forgot who hit him. I wish I would have wrote those down because I was watching with my son having such a good time. I didn't write them down. But just the way they got Randy for what he was wearing. A high school, a substitute high school teacher is what they said. And that little zipper up sweater. Randy's a dude, just like a good, for no other way that I can say this, just a good guy, like a good, he's a regular guy. The fact that he had talent to play.
He's a black redneck.
He is a black redneck.
Him and Karl Malone, Charles Barkley would call them black rednecks.
I was tough to not say a good old boy is what I wanted to say.
Another gem by Corey Holcomb. He said, fellas, the only thing scarier than something is, I forget what he compared it to, but he goes, only thing scarier than this is a mosquito leaving Magic Johnson's house. I wish they would get him on one. Oh, man. All right, that's it for me.
Let's do some dates. guys. We are in Boston. We're going to head out after this to go do a sound check at the Wilbur. And we got a show tonight, and then we got a week off. So looking forward to that for sure right now. Dude, I barely got any sleep last night. We're going to be at May 24th to the 26th. We're at the Richmond Funny Bone. May 30th through June 2nd, we're at Off the Hook in Naples, Florida. Then we're at, let me get the actual dates for June. Sorry, it's not on this list yet. It will be June 7th through the 9th. We're going to be at the Pittsburgh Improv. Then June 13th through the 16th, we're at Cap City in Austin, Texas. Aries and I are going to go out there a day early. Your boy there wants you to stay on Monday and try to get on a show. He's going to be out there. He wants to stay an extra day. Where? In Austin.
Oh, really?
He wants you to stay Monday. I might try to stay late if we can get on a show out there. June 22nd, Aries is going to be at the Albany Municipal Auditorium in Albany, Georgia. I will be getting married. I will not be there. June 27th through the 30th, Aries and I will be at the Helium in St. Louis. July 5th through the 6th, we're going to be at the Funny Bone in Omaha. July 18th through the 20th, Cobb's in San Francisco. August 8th through the 10th, we're at the Mic Drop in San Diego, back with Casey. September 13th through the 14th, Hartford, Funny Bone in Manchester, Connecticut. September 20th through the 21st is the Improv in Kansas City. I'm going to try to talk Aries into letting me out of that one because it's my birthday. October 4th. We got one in Michigan.
Didn't you get out of that once before?
I've always tried. Not all. You know what? I'm going to let me finish this. October 4th, we're going to be at the Royal Oak Music Center in Royal Oak, Michigan. I got out of. I tried to get out of it. I didn't get out of it. I went there with you. And this last time that we were in Kansas City, I'm going to be honest. Kansas City, they threw some money into the room. Staff was great. Shows were great. The audiences were great. I'm not knocking Kansas City now.
Oh, okay.
I just it's my birthday, and I don't know if I
want to celebrate it in Kansas City.
Yeah, or maybe if Tara will come out.
Bring Tara out. It's your birthday.
You know what?
She should want to come out.
I'll be married by then. I won't probably want her to hang out on my birthday.
Well, you'll be married. She probably won't want to hang out on your birthday.
Yeah.
Have her come out and don't give you no blowjob.
Let me see how this marriage thing's working out in September.
Yeah.
Let me see how June and July are going to work out. By the time we get to August, I'll know if I want her to come out in September. All right, man. Is that a show?
I think that's a show.
That is it, man. See you guys next week.
Yep.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. If you'd like to know who's responsible for this, it was hosted by Aries Spears and Andy Steinberg, produced by Steve Merrick and Anthony Holmes, executive producer, Big Papa, Robert Kelly, and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button Podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit SpearsburgPod.com.